Welcome to the Select Board meeting on Tuesday, November 9th. As we always do, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we have Melissa Ranieri from the Health Department. Come on up. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. My name is Melissa Ranieri, and I'm the health director for the town. I'm here tonight on behalf of the recycling committee. As you know, the bylaw for the plastic bag ban was voted yes at the Springtown meeting. It has been passed by the Attorney General's office, and now it will go into effect in beginning in March of next year. So just for the benefit of those that it will affect, we figured it would be great to have outreach to the businesses in route of an item that everyone does receive in the mail. So just to give them that information so everyone's aware of it. It provides a brief summary, which you've received for the bylaw, and then a link to click further to get a little bit more information on it. But it does need to be approved by the select board in order for it to go on the tax bill.
I'll open it up for questions and comments.
Well, sounds like communicating with all the residents is a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Totally.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of the health director to insert information on plastic bag ban into the third quarter real estate and personal property tax bills.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Board of Assessors, Jack, you want to come up? Welcome.
Thank you. I promise I'll be quick so that you can stay ahead of schedule if you can. Okay. The reason I'm here tonight is talk a little bit about the classification hearing, which is scheduled for 2 weeks from tonight. If you remember the classification hearing, that's where you effectively set the tax rate by voting on the residential factor or the shift. Okay? You don't actually vote on the tax rate, but you vote on the shift, which determines the tax rate. This is the end of near the end of a process that starts for us, the Board of Assessors, back in January. We have a year-long process that we go through. And right now, we're in the middle of what they call a period of public disclosure. We had approval last week of the of the preliminary approval last week of the values. They now have been made public. People have had a chance to go out and look at it. And now what will happen is at the end of the period, which will be at the end of this week, the state will then go ahead and give us final certification of the values, which will also include final certification of new growth, which is important. So what will be happening is, at the end of this week, you will be getting a package, the usual package that we have, about 30 pages. It has everything that you could possibly want to know about setting the tax rate. The only thing that isn't in there and that isn't complete is it's based upon the preliminary values, not the final values. And that's usually insignificant, because it's very unusual for the state to make any significant changes or recommend any significant changes between the preliminary and the final certification. The only thing that comes up sometimes is on the new growth, but we think we have that well in hand right now. So the package will be available to you at the end of this week. We encourage you to look at it. If you have any questions, concerns, anything you want to discuss, let the office know, let any of the board know, let Dennis know. We'll be glad to sit down and explain it to you in advance. And then when we have the classification hearing 2 weeks from tonight, then what we'll do is go through the highlights of it, answer any questions that you may have, but we ask you to be prepared to vote that night, because it's a very tight schedule between the 23rd of November and getting the tax bills mailed out to taxpayers in Walpole at the end of December, because we have to go through 2 more approvals as part of the approval cycle with the state. Then we have to get them all processed, the bills actually printed, mailed out, and in the hands of the taxpayers. So we would ask that you try to be prepared, and we'll answer any questions you have in advance at that meeting, whatever comes up. The only possible glitch in this is if for some reason the state does not approve and give us final approval, final certification on the values. That happened once 5 or 6 years ago, and if that's the case, we wouldn't ask you to postpone the hearing, but to open the hearing, have the discussion, and then just not adjourn, but just suspend it action until the following week when we were to have that. So we don't anticipate that happening, and over 30 years on the board, I've only seen that happen once, and I don't anticipate that would happen. But it's always a possibility. So, so on the 23rd, that's kind of a big night. It's where we set the tax rate effectively for the entire town, so.
Great. Any questions or comments?
No, I'm sure I will in the next couple of weeks, and I'll talk to you and Dennis and read the packet and all the information. Obviously, I recognize the significance of what we'll do in 2 weeks. Just a quick question. It's a public hearing, so the public will be
Yep.
invited to speak. And will there be information available to the public beforehand, or they'll have information? They'll be here for the hearing. There'll be a presentation, I'm assuming?
We don't usually have people request to see the 30-page packet.
No.
Okay, there are a couple people that have in the past have done it. I'm sure you know who some of them might be.
It's available.
But it's always available, and the values are all online anyway.
Okay.
Nancy?
As we discovered a few years ago, it seems to go a lot smoother if you get that out to the EDC also. If you can get those packages to the EDC,
Yes,
for them to be able to discuss
Right.
it and pass on information to us
Yeah.
before our hearing.
because they always come in and then they offer a position.
Yes, so the last few years, by doing it that way, it seems to
Yep.
go much more smoothly. And then, are you foreseeing a recommendation and a change in the shift?
We haven't had that
You haven't
discussion
had
about.
this-
Okay, we're trying to get certified values right now.
Okay,
But we'll be looking at that right now. It's, it's a possibility.
Okay.
It wouldn't be fair for me to say and try to represent what the other two members might be thinking.
sounds good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Thanks, appreciate you coming in.
Okay, so like I said, you should have the package by the end of the week. It'll be with the preliminary certified values, not the final ones. And again, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, great, thank you. Chief, come on up. Are you ready? Do you need a minute, or?
No, I think we're good. They're all
Okay.
here. I just wanted to make sure that we were all in attendance, so.
All right, great. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight, having us here tonight. You'd like to start with Sergeant Hazelden?
Sure.
Okay, outstanding. Jackie here? Oh, there she is. Jackie, come on up. Or you can, we'll put you on the spot. So recently, Sergeant Jackie Hazelden had left the department to take another job with the MPTC in Randolph to be their academy director. So as a result, Jackie served for 19 years at the Walpole Police Department. She joined the department in 2002. She is the founding member of our RAD program, and then led that program for another 16 years. And that program has flourished into quite a program now, which encompasses now RAD Kids, and it's very popular. She served a number of roles throughout her career, including the medical officer, the designated infectious disease control officer, which is a very unglamorous job, but she did that with distinction, served that with distinction. And she was also our CPR instructor, which is extremely important in our training. She also ensured that officers were certified in the use of naloxone and epinephrine, which was recently added to our toolbox for medical response, and that was extremely important to us. She was the first liaison to the Longview Farm, Home for Little Wanderers, and served in that role for 7 years. That program has now evolved to what it is today, where we have 2 liaisons assigned at that school, and we work very well with them. We have a great relationship with that school. But Jackie did that for 7 years and managed a lot of the issues that we had up there while she was there. In 2013, she was named the Officer of the Year. It was an internal program we had for excellence in policing and dedication to our community. So Jackie was always immersed in our community, and she always took on the extra tasks, which really made her a very deserving recipient of that award. She was the first woman to become the Walpole Police Detective in 2016, which of course was short-lived, because in 2017 she became the first woman to become a patrol sergeant with our department. She was a role model to so many women who are pursuing a career in law enforcement, and certainly meant a lot to all of us as well. Our department was certainly a better place because she served here, I wish her the best of luck in her new role as the Academy Director for the Randolph Police Academy. So, you want to have her come up, or?
Sure, come on up.
Good evening, thank you.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me. Really and truly, I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate all the time and all the support that I've gotten over the last 19 years from everybody in Walpole, everybody who works here. It's been a great experience that helped lead me down the path to where I am now, so
Great. I'd open it up for comments, or
Congratulations.
thank you,
Well deserved.
thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, congratulations. I am thrilled that you got this new opportunity, and thank you for being the role model that you've been over the many years that you've been here. It's been an extraordinary run you've had, and best of luck as you go forward.
Thank you.
Ben?
I would just echo what they said, so thank you for your service to our town. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Glenn?
And I would echo the same thing, and I would say your legacy will certainly be felt here in Walpole for many years to come, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say it's Walpole's loss, but the Academy's gain, so.
There you go.
Net, it's a good thing,
I can
so,
still serve the town, just in a different way.
yes.
Absolutely.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Let us know if we can ever do anything for you,
I
so.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Next up, I have a recommendation for Officer John Thayer to be promoted to Patrol Sergeant. Yes, yes, so, John joined our department in 2005, and has served for the past 16 years, all with Walpole PD. He was a dispatcher prior to becoming a patrol officer. He served in that role for several years. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Westfield State College, and like I said, he had joined our department in 2005. He held a number of assignments during his tenure here. He was a crime prevention officer, RAD instructor, RAD kids instructor, an ALICE instructor, which he works closely with our schools in our ALICE protocol, a field training officer, and responsible for training a number of our new officers that have come on in the past several years. He's also served in the bike patrol, both with the Metropolitan Law Enforcement Council and with the Cobra unit, which is attached to the Boston Police Department. He deployed a number of times for large-scale events within the city of Boston, represented our department well. He's dedicated to community policing and to the youth of Walpole. He served in the DARE program back when that was in existence. He served as a school mentor both at Byrd and Johnson Middle Schools, and he was an instructor at all of our junior police academy classes, every single one we've had since it began. Recently he served as a provisional sergeant for 8 months, and he did an absolutely fantastic.
Microphone. Welcome. Is there anything you'd like to tell us? I mean, we've read your paperwork. We know of your background, so.
Yeah, just growing up here, being a resident of this town, my parents raised me here for the first 25 years of my life, and sticking with that, been an officer for the last 16 years, and dispatcher before that. So I feel like I've spent my entire life here in Walpole and dedicated myself to the community, and I hope to continue to do that as a supervisor and a leader, and someone that can teach these younger officers that are coming in the ways that this town enjoys, and what we can do to make it a better place for everybody, not only in our department but also for this community. So,
Great. Any comments or questions?
I would just say, 16 years, I hope you can do 16 more, and you've already been tested, I guess, in your interim role, so I can hope you bring that same vigor and effort toward the next 16 years or longer. So, congratulations.
Before community policing was even a term, I would say John spent more than half his time not in a cruiser, but instead in neighborhoods playing pickup basketball games with kids all over town. That being said, I'm very proud to make a promotion that's long overdue for Officer John Thayer to become a permanent sergeant with the Walpole Police Department.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Anything else, Chief?
That's all I have for tonight, so.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having us, appreciate it.
Glad to have you. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, so that's okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Congratulations.
Next up, Veterans Agent Mark Bryson, with a request to use the town common on November 11th for a Veterans Day observation. Come on up. Get a little TV time in with the residents of Walpole. How you doing?
Not bad, how you doing today?
Good.
Good. All right.
So we saw your request, we saw the layout, so it looks like you have good plans for Thursday.
Yes.
That's
Yes, I
great.
do. Yep. Yeah, pretty much, I got everything pretty much wrapped up already, so looks good.
Okay, great.
The weather looks good,
Okay.
and we're set to start everything off at 11 o'clock. and,
11 o'clock,
We have some
yes.
presenters who are going to be there. I'm sure it'll be well attended by everyone. So Mark's done a great job. This is his first Veterans Day with us and getting everybody together. So happy to have him on board and happy to get this underway this week.
Great. Nancy, you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the request of Mark Bryson to use the town common on November 11th, 2021 for Veterans Day.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I just want to say the banners look beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been down there myself. They really do look great. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
See you Thursday.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep. Are we expecting anybody to come in from Rico's?
Yes, they are due to be here, so I'm not sure if you want to maybe move to some of the new business items.
Sure.
We can Move back, if that's okay.
All right, let's go to new business. Vote to approve stadium event parking lot license at 44 Water Street. You happy with all the paperwork?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions about this? Seems to be like the others. I'm glad to see they're continuing to come in.
Yeah, so we actually have a total of 21 parking lots through this new program. Yeah, with 541 total spaces,
Great.
so,
Has the Boyden School packed on one yet?
no.
I'll make a motion to approve stadium parking event lot license at 44 Water Street with 9 spaces.
Second?
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to open the spring 2022 town warrant and close it on January 11th, 2022.
Second?
Any questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to award bid contract number 2022-04 to joint salt bid to Eastern Minerals, Inc. for various salt treatments.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the request of the Friends of St. Patrick to hold the annual parade on March 11th, 2022.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Abstain. So 401.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation from Dorothy Smith to the Council on Aging effective immediately and thank her for her time on the council.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Walpole Chamber of Commerce to hold the annual Santa Parade and tree lighting on Saturday, November 2021. Should I include the morning and the evening?
Yeah, sure. For the parade.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I think people will be very happy to see the Christmas tree lit and the
Aye.
parade again this year, so.
Yes, I think so. I'll make a motion to accept with gratitude the following donations. David and Dorothy Smith to the ambulance gift account, Karen Swan to the Veteran Service Committee Banner Program, Louise Penu to the Veteran Service Committee Banner Program, Mark Kolzensky to the Veteran Service Committee Banner Program, multiple donors to the Recreation Smiling Eyes Financial Assistance, and the Junior Women's Club of Walpole to Community Policing Marketing Account.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With thanks to all the donors.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 12th, 23rd, and 26th of 2021 as presented in our packets.
Second?
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do you want me to, is someone coming in for the car mart?
Yeah, they had all planned on coming in.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
What time are they down for?
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be moving so quickly through everything today.
You just never know sometimes.
So true.
So Mark, I could go on to the,
Sure, how about a town administrator report?
since we got a little bit of time, let's give any questions you have. So, town election, Liz did a great job with her team, getting everything, overseeing it all together, and really went off without a hitch. We had just over 30, it was 32% or so, showed up to vote. And obviously, we're proceeding forward. She's notified the state. We're set to have a borrowing discussion on November 23rd to discuss some of the borrowing options with our financial advisors. I'd like to reach out to the finance committee, school building committee, obviously the finance team, to invite them to attend so we can get as much input as possible on this. We'll hold it down the far end of the hall so we could do a hybrid meeting, so if people, that is a lot of people if everyone shows up to get in the room, so I think it will be well attended, and I think it's the most we've ever borrowed, excuse me, at one time, so as much input as possible, I think that'd be a good thing for us. We're gonna be discussing possibly borrowing not only the initial kickoff funds for the middle school, but also about 3 million or so in the fire truck funds, the road funds, and the water project. It's more closer to 4. I think the water money was about $2 million. So those ones will be also included as part of that, so we get a better borrowing rate on those smaller projects because they just group it together. So at this time, we've kicked around ideas internally, just not with the board, but with the finance team, of possibly 20 million or 50 million. And I really want you folks to get some input from Peter Frazier, who works with Hilltop Securities. He's our financial advisor, and gather his input also, so he can weigh some of the pros and cons about, do you borrow 20 or do you borrow 50, and what should we do and how should we do it? Because whatever we borrow, we have to spend within 3 years. So there's a timeline that we have to follow and adhere to. So I think it'll be a good discussion. We're looking for a January, maybe late February borrowing, early February borrowing for that project. So everything needs to get in line during the month of December so we can set up the bid specifications. And when it goes out to bid to the different borrowing agencies, they'll interview myself and the finance team, and then give us a number in the near future. So it'll be good. I think it'll be a good discussion with everyone, and I'm hoping to get as much input. So any questions on that? Is the board comfortable with that process?
Glenn?
I will have questions, but I think maybe I saved some of them for Peter Frazier. He's coming in 2 weeks, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, during a regular. So we're gonna meet early that night at 6, because it just, with the interviews for the police department, this discussion, the working meeting that we're gonna have, it's a busy month, so.
Sure. I'll save, I have a lot of detailed oriented questions, so I can save some of those for when everybody's in the same room. So,
Sure.
No, that's it. I'm all set.
Ben?
I'm all set.
Jim?
I would just comment that I thought it was incredible and an outstanding outcome to have the vote pass the way that it did, and a huge win for the town. So I was thrilled with the outcome of the election, so.
Okay.
Nancy?
No, it's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things, and I know you're gonna talk to Brian Jarvis, or probably already have, about, how he thinks the project will phase out. I think borrowing rates are, near all-time lows, and I can't imagine these rates holding on for too many more years. So, you already know, I've already said that I'd like to borrow as much as we can reasonably foresee a use for within the 3-year window, just to make sure we can lock in those good rates. So I'm glad he's coming in. I'm glad we can have a good discussion. And if anybody from the other boards has an interest in being involved, that'd be great to get everybody up at the same level.
So the outcome at the end of that night is, what I'm hoping for is the board says, Jim, Jody, Lisa, we would like you to go forward and borrow X million dollars, whatever you decide on. But I'd like to know by the end of that night so we can move forward.
Sure, that sounds good.
And the other item that's on my to-do list with the board to go over is the working meeting that we're set to have next week. We're set to discuss the Americans Recovery Act funds, the ARPA money, police department operations, and fire department operations and budget for both of those departments. I've explained to the chiefs that I expect the board to review the 5-year operations plan, their equipment and training needs, their FY23 budget, and needs going forward with each department. As for the ARPA funds, I'd like to get a sense, well, I would also like to have the board direct me to go forward, because the county has about $4.8 million, almost $4.9 million that's slotted specifically for Walpole. We've been working with Powers and Sullivan and Roselli and Clark to review the town's lost revenue funds. They've identified approximately $9 million or so in lost funds as a result of COVID. I'm waiting for the final report on that, which I've asked them to give me by tomorrow. So I'll share that with you before the meeting next week, but I want to first understand how they come to those calculations. If Roselli and Clark have also vetted it, the auditors are comfortable with it. I want you folks to be comfortable with it, but the plan is go forward with lost revenue that have been identified. We don't have to identify specific projects. We can kick around some ideas, which I'll certainly give you a list, but at least we can submit those funds to get back to Walpole, because it is a process. The county's not gonna release all of the money at once. I've talked to Bill Buckley, and he thinks they're gonna release it maybe in 2 phases or something. Their portal is up and running, and so I need the board, I wanna make sure you're comfortable with what we plan on doing, because ultimately it's gonna fall to the board. You guys, it's considered a grant by the federal government. It'll be overseen and administered by the select board. And if you're okay with it, I'll invite the finance committee to that discussion also, so they can have some input on the police and fire side and on the ARPA money.
I think it's great having the FinCom come. So, you know, the more we can be in sync and they can hear the same things will save you for having to go and sum up our meeting or for them to have to watch it on the side, so.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to reading that report, you know, and understanding, you know, you termed it as lost revenue, and understand how they come up with those numbers and all that kind of stuff.
Me
So,
too.
the beauty of identifying it as lost revenue, which is one of the valid uses of ARPA funds, is then it removes all the restrictions for what we could use that money for. Where if we use it as regular ARPA money, we're restricted and pigeonholed into a couple of categories. So that would just give us more flexibility down the road as we pick projects to work on, so.
I have some comments on the, or questions even on the lost revenue strategy. So if we, I know it does give us more flexibility. Does it, do the time restrictions on spending it remain? We have 3 years, I think, to spend the money.
It remains the same.
So we still have to spend it in that certain time frame. And if we take it as lost revenue, does it flow into free cash, for example? Does it flow into just a
No.
separate account?
It's considered a
Earmarked.
grant, and we accept it as a grant. We can't close it out to free cash and
Good. Well, that's
go
good.
that way.
And so we would still, as a board, with a consultation with Finance Committee and other boards in other parts of town, this board would decide still where that was spent and how that was spent.
You can do things, you can do certain things with it, such as, I was more interested in OPEB. There was 2 years, 2 budget cycles in a row where we initially, before COVID, we budgeted about $500,000 as part of our operating budget towards stabilization. Then we knocked it down to 0. I think last year we bumped it up to 100 or 200. We could justify putting some of that money back into OPEB if that's the way you want it to go. I mean, there's a lot of projects I reviewed with the department head, some of the list of projects they'd like to see done, you know, infrastructure improvements, you know, throughout the community. And it definitely, I think it totaled close to $11 million that we quickly identified just off the capital plan alone.
No, there's lots of really important and worthy projects that this money could be spent on. I look at this money coming to us from the county and from the federal government, and also there's another bit of money separately from this, from the state potentially. And I see this as being once in a generation opportunity. And I didn't actually coin that phrase. I've heard that from different state senators and from different people at the county government level, and just other conversations I've had. It's a sort of unique opportunity where I don't think we want to spend it on something that might be a 1 to 3 year concern. I think it's the timeline is this something where we can solve a problem where it's hard, it's 20 years down the road and we can't really justify taking care of it today, but this money is sort of gives us that flexibility, again, we'll use that word too, to solve more long-term, issues that might not be here today, but we can foresee coming. So I look at, I want to make sure we spend this money. OPEB is a good example of something that is a long-term, 20-year longer sort of issue that we're trying to deal with each year, so that could help us get ahead. So I want to look at other situations where we would try to get ahead and use this money in a really good way to help us solve a unique set of problems. So in 2 weeks, or is it next week we're having that meeting? And next week, when we have that meeting, there's a list that you've sort of been communicating with us?
I'll provide the board with
Yeah, there'll be an updated
ideas
list.
that we've kicked around with department heads. And
Of that 11 main, would it be 11 main? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so next week, what we're really doing is seeing if it looks like there is a significant amount of lost revenue when we read the reports.
All right, got it.
And we would instruct Jim to go get the money under the lost revenue category. Separately, we would then schedule, down the road,
Yeah.
some meetings where we talk about options. When we get the money, whenever that is, what are the kind of projects that we would be interested
No,
in?
totally. I guess the thing I'm thinking, and I want to say it out loud, is the flexibility is obviously really good, but part of me is a little bit concerned, not really concerned, the wrong word, that too much flexibility, I'd like to get a sense of what we want to spend it on, because within the framework that the federal government is telling us, this money, water infrastructure projects, or just like really important long-term issues. If I could get a sense of, are people looking to pave roads, or, if I could get a sense of what other board members, not right now, but, next week, or what other board members are thinking that flexibility could be used for, that would just help ease my mind a little bit. So we don't have to agree that we're gonna do it on that, but so I get a sense of what people are thinking. Could be, that'll be part of the
Oh, sure,
discussion
yep,
next week?
yep, we can
Okay.
have that
I
discussion.
can, as part of my memo to you, explaining all this, I can identify, here's some of the projects that we have talked about. And, nothing's set in stone. And of course, if board members want that on there, but I can certainly do it. And then we can, once we get the money, all the money from the county, we can really sit down and say, okay, how do you want to, because I don't want to do all of these projects at once. We have the 3 years worth of flexibility. We just approved, I think it was $15 million in capital just last month alone. I don't want to get in over our heads. I'd like to phase this ARPA money, because they're allowing it, over a few years. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so.
Okay, thank you.
Ben?
No, I mean, I'm fine with this kind of phased approach we've been talking about. Talk about it on the 16th, decide if that's how we want to put the money in for, and then, as Glenn was saying, get this list, loop in FinCom. I mean, the more people that can give feedback on it and ideas, the better. I know that, Jim, you've talked with all the department heads. They've all had their input, so to me, the more information, the more input, the better. So I think it sounds good.
Great. Jim?
I'm good with the process. I look forward to the conversation.
Great. Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so one of my last items on here is the Master Plan Community Forum. Just a reminder, and I think Patrick might throw it up on screen. Forum will be held on Wednesday, November 17th, at the high school from 7 to 9. Participants will be asked specific questions designated to identify common values and goals that will help them form the components of the common vision for Walpole's future. There's 3 community forums planned. This will be the first one, obviously. All 3 of them will play an important role in identifying the goals in the community's vision as they work through the master plan. I believe Judy Barrett, the consultant we've hired, members of the master plan committee will be there, and I think it would provide some good input. We're also going to have Walpole Cable or Walpole Media tape it for us and go forward from there. It's a long process, and we knew that. I'm really happy that we're, at this stage. So,
Great.
that's it.
Any questions for Jim?
Good.
Okay. So let's back up to vote request of SD&M Corporation, DBA Rico's Pizzeria, for a common vitulers license to operate at 1351 Main Street. Come on up, sure, that'd be great.
Hello,
Hello, welcome.
how you doing?
Good.
So, Socrates Great I'm looking to apply for that common visual license to operate Rico's.
Yep. And you're happy with all the paperwork?
Yes, so like you see in your packet, we got the letter from Peter stating that he will surrender his common victular once this one has been issued, so there won't be two licenses operating out of the property.
Okay. I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any.
No questions.
Okay. Jim, you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move to approve the request for SDNM Corporation DBA Rico's Pizzeria for a common vittler's license to operate at 1350 Main Street.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great.
All set?
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all coordinated.
Yep, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Elizabeth Chase, please come up. So next item is interview and vote to appoint Elizabeth Chase to the Walpole Cultural Council. Why don't you just, tell us something about yourself that
Sure.
wasn't in the paperwork?
Sure. I started my career in archives. My background is in literature and historical research. I used to run the reading room for the special collections and archives at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, before we decided to come back to New England. I'm a new Walpole resident. We just moved into town in June. I have a kindergartner at Boyden, and so we've been interested in getting involved in town and felt that with my background, Cultural Council was a good place to start.
Great. Welcome to Walpole.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No, I'm really excited that you have young kids, a young kid, and you getting involved so early. I'm sure you're very busy.
Yeah,
but
I'm also involved so far with the Multicultural Book Initiative, and we've been really enjoying that. It was actually some of the programming that I think the Cultural Council may have helped with, the Juneteenth that has started in town, and the book initiative that was one of the draws for us to move to Walpole.
Great.
That's really great. Thank you.
Jim?
A motion to appoint Elizabeth Chase to the Walpole Cultural Council.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, and thanks for volunteering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, vote request of CI Auto Group doing business as Car-Mart for a Class 2 dealer license to operate at 575 Providence Highway. Come on up to the microphone. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your business? We've seen your paperwork, but
Sure,
it's always good to hear it.
Yeah, we've been in business as a Mitsubishi dealership in Cape Cod and Yarmouth for 10 years now in April. And my friend Ed is starting to retire, and that's somewhat. And we've been friends for a long time, and so he's given me an opportunity to take over that location and continue to operate it under my entity, which has a pretty good track record of taking care of folks and bringing value to the community.
Great. Anybody have any questions or comments?
No, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just good luck, and I'll make a motion to approve the request of CNI Auto Group, Inc., DBA Car-Mart, for a Class 2 dealer license to operate at 575 Providence Highway.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. Thanks. Yep.
21 years I was there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've been there a long
Still gonna
time.
be there.
Yeah.
I'll still be there.
You've done a great job, so.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll get you the updated binder.
Yeah, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you and.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Aoife's the boss.
Not really.
As I see no one here for open forum, I'm gonna move past that item. Anything else that we need to cover tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Jim said it.
I already read it.
Yeah. Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.
We're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, Patrick.